Hello there. Well, we're coming up to the festive season, a time when people tend to overindulge in food and drink, and then of course in the new year you say, right, I'm now going to get fit. Today we're at the Bangkok Hospital Pattaya, and they're urging you to take a look at your health before all that happens. Joining me is my colleague from Pattaya Mail, but he's here under the guise as his, what's your official title here, Dr. Ian?
Consultant.
Consultant at the International Department of the hospital. So, Dr. Ian, they've got this wonderful promotion, and it is a wonderful promotion because these are great discounts you're talking about, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got various check-up packages that we're advising people to look at, and these are at 50% off. Now, the lowest one, is only 3,000 baht. Well, quite frankly, Paul, you and I would spill more than that in a week.
3,000. Now, this is called the essential package, right?
Yes.
So it takes care of the absolute, I don't want to use the word basics, but the necessary things that people should be checking.
Yeah. Basically, look at checkups as casting a net. And if you cast a wide net, then you bring it in and you see any deviations from the normal range that we would expect for a person's age.
Okay. Now, we were actually going to film this in the main body of the clinic here, but it's absolutely packed. Your business is obviously booming, and as ever, you've got a multitude of nationalities. I mean, the hospital is truly international.
It certainly is. I mean, even to the extent that we get a lot of patients from the Middle East. We have a complete Middle East section staffed by Arabic speakers.
Okay. And I guess, obviously, the Russians, that goes without saying now.
Yes, we've got plenty of Russians, and we even have Chinese. And then, of course, the mainstream languages such as Italian, French, German, Spanish, and so it goes on. We have interpreters in 20 languages.
Well, it's a fair lot. So the basic package starts at 3,000, which would normally be 6,000. So what doesn't that have? I mean, what are the main things that it wouldn't cover?
What it doesn't have compared to the next one up, which is 7,500, there are some blood tests that can be done as cancer markers. There is an ultrasound which can be done of the abdomen. The exercise stress test, which is probably, I believe, one of the more important tests that we do, which is a test of cardiac function. Look upon an ECG as a snapshot in time of the working of your heart. But an exercise stress test, we then make you do exercise under controlled situation with a continuous ECG, with a cardiologist on hand to make sure everything goes well, but we can actually see how does your heart function under load. It might be fine sitting on a bench like you and I are, but if we walk down the road, we are putting more load on the heart. Now, that's not in the very basic one, but we can add that on. And normally I think it's about 3,500 baht, but with this sort of special arrangement coming up to December 31, it's only 2,000 baht.
So people can upgrade their essential package at 3,000, pay 5,000, and it would incorporate that.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And as you say, because the normal ECG test that you would get is just a snapshot. And I'd like to ask you, you hear about this white coat syndrome, yes. You know, when people come in for their blood pressure checks.
Here it is.
They come in for their blood pressure checks, and and of course what's happened is now over time they go and they either get one from the hospital or they go and buy their one so they can actually monitor it on a daily basis, which gives a much better picture. When you do an ECG, is the same potentially, could the same happen, that the fact that you're in hospital and the doctor's there and he's standing over you and it's your annual checkup and you're starting to get all a bit stressed?
Yes, this is possible. The pulse rate would be the one that would go up, and this would be seen on the ECG. But by the time you've gone through the process and you're lying there and everybody sort of resigned themselves to what's going to happen. It really isn't an important factor. But with blood pressure, certainly. And this is why blood pressure should never be assessed on one reading. If any doctor says to you, you've got hypertension on his one reading that day, say, no, I haven't, doctor. Let's do it again in a week and a week after that, and then see. And your suggestion of buying a home monitor for blood pressure is excellent.
Okay. We talked about the different nationalities, but what about when people come in and they say to you, right, okay, I'm going to go for the checkup? Naturally, they may say, well, I'll start with the essential one. But, of course, there's other factors that you would have to take into play, isn't there? Because, I guess, their age, their family history and such like. So what's the process? How does that work?
Well, most people have an idea of what it is that they want out of a checkup package. They also know how much they can afford out of a checkup package. But there are another group of people who really don't know, and they can come and see me as a consultant, and I will advise them on what they should be looking at. As you say, if they've got a medical history which includes a heart attack, then sure, we should be looking more detailed at the cardiovascular system. If there's been a family history of diabetes, right, blood sugar is the important one. And also, you could throw in another test called the HbA1c, which shows how well your sugar has been controlled over the last 3 months. It's a very clever test. So, yes, all these things come into play. Over the age of 45, 50, you then become more at risk for certain conditions. And we should put something into the checkup package to look at that and to monitor it. For example, prostate. Say the word prostate and a lot of men cross their legs and start worrying. There is a test called the PSA, prostate specific antigen, and you can incorporate that in your test. Unfortunately, PSA is not a go, no-go test. There is a normal range, and if you fall outside that normal range, for most people, it's a case of let's see what it's like next year and the year after. And if it's slowly going up like that, then you don't need to do anything. But if it's gone bang, right, then you could be in trouble. Again, this is something that you will find out with testing.
And then I guess for women it's a different set of tests, right?
Yes. The specific cancers for women, of course, are breast cancer and ovarian cancer, and we can test for that as well. When you hear about just, stories that you hear from family and friends, cancer seems to be, I don't mean a big problem in Thailand, but I hear about a lot of people suffering from cancer and dying from cancer. Indeed. Firstly, cancer, by and large, is a disease of aging. The older you are, the more likely you are. But with cancer, you can, if you catch it early enough, change the outcome. But you won't know unless you look. Now, there are those people who say, I don't want to know what I'm like on inside because, we've all got to die one day. And I agree, we've all got to die one day. But I'd much rather die with having had a decent quality of life. And that's the important thing. And these tests will help you keep your good quality of life.
Because cancer is sometimes referred to as the silent killer, isn't it? Because you don't know there's no external signs in the early stages.
Very true, but also blood pressure is the silent killer and diabetes is the silent killer. And even a malignant melanoma, which is a spot on your skin, can be and is very fatal.
Yes, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the other packages. So the initial one we were talking about, which was normally 6,000, is discounted to 3,000. But as you say, you can upgrade certain aspects like the stress test for 2,000, which is normally 3.5. So the next one is called what's that called? The standard, is it? The deluxe. Deluxe. We should do eyesight tests as well, right? So it's the deluxe. Now it's normally 15,500, and it's reduced. Actually, it's under half price, 7,500 baht. So this incorporates a few more of from the essentials, right?
Yes. Principally the hepatitis testing for hepatitis B and C. These are important ones to look at. And thyroid is another one. But again, there's usually some symptoms starting to show which would steer the whole idea towards a particular health issue.
And for thyroid, I'm only asking, I have no idea, what are the symptoms that somebody would see for that?
Well, with thyroid, they tend to be hyperactive. They don't put on weight. They have a rapid pulse. And it can be another one of these diseases which may have a very significant effect on your outcome.
All right, and then moving up, we've got the superior package, which would normally be 23,500, discounted to 11,500, and now we're getting into the sort of serious stuff now.
Yes, we're casting an exceptionally wide net. For a young person under the age of 40, don't waste your money. Stick with a cheaper package.
Unless, of course, they had some major family history.
For older people over the age of 40, yes, go for the more expensive ones. And particularly if there's family history and if they are smokers. I cannot emphasize enough the dangers of smoking.
Really? Okay. And then we work up again, and we're now up towards the Premier package. 39,000 normally, which is, it's not. It's only, £800 in old money, but it's reduced to 18,500 baht. And now it's really, it's ticking all the boxes. It basically covers everything.
Indeed it does. Although there will never be, you can never test for everything. I know I have a book on my desk which is the pathology tests and their interpretation, and there are 300 pages and there's about 3 or 4 tests per page. So you can imagine we're not testing for every known test in the world, but at 18,500 it would be highly unlikely that something would slip through unchecked.
And I guess when you're speaking to people, you know they'll have an idea themselves if they've seen some changes in their body in the last sort of 12 months or so, and that would help point you towards perhaps some other sort of consultation.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, listen to your body; it will tell you what's wrong.
Okay. Right. Now this package that you put together, this special offer, runs until the end of the year. But in a way, it can go on until February, I believe.
That is correct. The actual physical examination has to be done before the end of February. But you've got to pay before the end of this December. Okay. So if you're thinking of it, but you got too busy or whatever between now and the end of the year, come in, pay for whatever it is you want, and then make sure that you do come back in before the end of February.
What if people said, right, okay, well, I think I'm going to go for the basic package, the essential package, but I'm going to do the whole test and everything afterwards. But what if they maybe need more? How would that work?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So there would still be a sort of little consultation beforehand?
Yes, yeah, there will be a way around these problems.
Well, it's very interesting, Dr. Ian, and health is something that, Well, it's a bit like paying your car insurance. You know, if we didn't have to do it, we wouldn't do it. But it's only comes to light how important it is when something goes wrong.
Paul, we have had the situation where someone came through absolutely flying colours, and he said, "Well, that was a waste of time, wasn't it?"
Yeah, but he's got this wonderful peace of mind, right?
No, he just felt that he'd sort of wasted his money, and there's no such thing as wasting your money on a health checkup package. Goodness me, I have a health checkup package every year, and I can take my pulse and my blood pressure and all the rest and look in the mirror. But I go and have one of our checkup packages every year.
Yeah. And as you get older, it becomes more especially important.
Yes, for you, Paul, because you are getting older. I on the other hand, am not.
Right, okay, we're going to wrap it up here before he gets too cheeky with me. If you're interested in these wonderful packages, come along. You can just come along Bangkok Paddy Hospital here. It's on Secundfoot Road. Come in, speak to Dr. Ian Corness. And as we've been talking, the website's been on the screen. You can click on the link and find out more information. Stay healthy. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you, Paul.